Hey guys, so today we are looking at the FPVCycle Sonicare. The first thing we're going to check out before we open this thing up is weights. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to tear off, so the mount I made was 13.9 grams. I'm going to tear that weight because I'm too lazy to take off my mount, and I want to get the weight of the frame, motors, probably basically the build without the mount. And so with that teared off, that is 345 grams. With the mount, it is 359 grams. And then if we go ahead and add a GoPro session, that brings us to 434. And then with a LiPo, we are at 626.7. This is with a 1000 milliamp hour RDQ/GNB battery. With a heavier China Hobby line 1100, we are up to 637.4. If you want some extra protection and you run these little footies, that will add a tiny bit of weight, not much, and it does keep your carbon from splintering, so I actually do prefer to run with these on. Okay, so with those on, we're at 441 dry, and with my heaviest LiPo, we are at 640, we'll call it 644. So it's a very light frame overall. And so if we go ahead and open this up, these screws and the screw holes are countersunk, which is really, really nice because then you don't have to run battery pads. This strap pad here sort of works as your battery pad, so that saves some weight for you. And you don't have to worry about the screw heads digging into your LiPo, so that's a super, super nice touch. And so this frame does have two sets of mounting screws for the mount, and then also this crossbar. I'm not using the front set. Mine are just kind of through. So when you loosen these back screws, that just kind of folds up and reveals these screws for you, or you can get at them through. You can't probably see it in this picture, but there's holes here. Now that brings me to the first thing I don't like about the frame. Is you need multiple drivers to take it apart. It does have M2 and M3 hardware, like for the top plate. I'm not really sure why these front ones are M2. Those could have just been M3 and added a gram or whatever, and then saved us a second tool. But it's not the end of the world. It's just, I guess, a minor inconvenience. It always stinks when you need multiple driver sizes to take your frame apart. How much are you taking the frame apart? Probably not very much. And you probably have a 1.5 and an H2 hex because things like your camera plates are 1.5 anyway, so not that big of a deal, but it is something that I thought that I should point out. The straps do have strap slots, which is a huge plus for me. There's nothing I hate more than when you go to wrench down a strap and the whole strap is moving and you're trying to hold down wires. You need 12 hands. Strap slots are amazing. They're the way to go. I've heard they weaken the top plate, but I've never, ever had a top plate crack. It's just not that big of a concern, and if it does, it's cheap enough. It's the juice is worth the squeeze in terms of giving up maybe a little bit of durability for the strap slots. Love the strap slots. I wouldn't buy a frame without them, honestly. After having a QAVS and having to run, great frame by the way, but having to run the straps sort of just underneath, and they're all loosey-goosey, horribly annoying every time you wanna take your LiPo on and off. So that's not great, but it is great on this. So in the rear we have 20x20 for a VTX, or in my case, a Caddex Vista, which is my VTX. In the front we have 20x20 as well, but we also have 25x25. This is a 25mm stack. These are non-centered, so you will need pretty long motor wires coming from the back. So it is a little bit of a stretch there, mounting your rear motors. These arm struts are each their own piece, and they're all symmetrical, so it's not like you have specific like front and rear or anything crazy arms. They're fully symmetrical. This is what the arm struts look like, and so if you want to kind of see how they go together, this would sit like this here, and then this arm and this arm butt against each other is sort of the way that it works. And then this arm and then this arm kind of butt against each other. So they're fully symmetrical, and I haven't broken an arm yet. I mean, these things are thick. But if you do break one, it's possible that you would only break one in a crash and only have to replace one in a crash. So that's really nice. The camera cage does have 2 standoffs. It's got the one in the front, which I've actually just put a little roll of TPU on, and the one in the rear that we're using to secure our front mount, which I think is the best approach for this front mount situation. It also actually has 2 notches here, if you see, where you can pick where you want this standoff. And so conceivably you could make it so you had an adjustable mount where kind of by default it would mount to the bottom one, maybe at 20 degrees, and then when you wanted to get to 30, you would just shift it up without having to print another mount. You would sort of get a wedge of like a gap underneath it, but you could even fix that by only having sort of the back screw, like so you only have this back portion. It's a cool design, it's interesting, it's an interesting approach. I mean, personally, I'll just print 2 mounts, but that is sort of a cool, really cool idea that FPVCycle had and implemented with this frame. I love this front standoff. I will post a picture in this video of why. And it's because it protects your camera really, really well. Some other frames, like I've got an AOS 3.5 here. Very, very similar camera cage. I do like these modular camera cages because with these modular camera cages, if you blow out the cage, it's a couple bucks in carbon and it's not that big a deal. You don't have to tear the whole quad down, you know, resolder your motors, the whole 9 yards. So I do like that my AOS 3.5 has this, but the AOS 3.5 doesn't have the standoff, as you can see. And that really concerns me because I've been in 2 crashes with the incisor frame where that front standoff has saved my camera from being completely obliterated. So definitely really, really like the fact that that's there. Super durable. Like I mentioned, this might be a little bit less durable than the blunt fronts, but the repairability is so much higher and the maintainability of the quad is so much higher with this being a sort of decoupled from the rest of the frame. I much, much prefer it. So that's a big plus in my book. And so now down to the main thing that I don't like about this quad is that it does not have 30 by 30 mounting. It's not that there aren't parts available that are sufficient in 25 by 25 and in 20 by 20. This DarwinFPV FPVCycle stack is pretty nice. And this is a 2-board stack where the ESC and the flight controller are separated. I also have this Acon 25mm that hangs over the edges a lot. It's much more like a 30mm actual size board. And this has got full-size FETs on it. So there are definitely options available in 25 by 25 and obviously 20 by 20. The problem is I didn't own any of those. Like I have 3 30mm stacks, and if I wanted to buy 3 of these frames, I can't, because I can't move all my stuff over. So, and I know a lot of freestyle pilots are in a similar boat. They already have 30mm stacks and they're just looking for a new frame. And so this is kind of out of reach for you right now. That's the biggest bummer about this frame. So with that said, I have heard that Bob Ruge of FPVCycle, he is planning on making a adapter that goes from 25 by 25 to 30 by 30. My only concern with that, so I mean, you can always 3D print something, but I'm not a big fan of that. Like I want something sturdy, carbon holding my stack in place. I don't want it to be 3D printed plastic. My understanding is Bob has an adapter that's coming out. My only concern there is then you take away effective stack height, and this doesn't have a ton of build height as it is, so that may not be perfect either. I guess we'll see. Maybe it's amazing, but until that's out, I mean, I can't really review something that doesn't exist. So hopefully that comes out soon. If that does come out between the making of this video and when you're looking at this frame, if that's out there, definitely check this frame out. 100%. The only reason to not get this frame is if you're not building a whole new quad. You just need a frame and all you have is 30 by 30s. Otherwise, this frame is an absolute winner. It was pretty easy to build. It's not incredibly spacious. I did have to hang my capacitor outside the, I guess, main fuselage of the frame, which I don't love, but it is still on this deck. You sort of get a lot of space here where it's, you know, somewhat protected, at least from like branches coming past it. And so one more thing before we get to some flight footage, I do have a tune available for this that I'm submitting to the Betaflight official preset library. So if you're watching this video, it's probably already in there. If you go into the Betaflight presets and you just search for Sonicare, you can flash my tune and filters, and yeah, have an amazing flying quad. This is the best flying frame I've ever flown. This is my first TrueX frame, so it's interesting getting to fly one of those. Other than maybe, you know, I've got like some toothpicks and stuff, or even my FPVCycle Digipic, I run the braces on. So again, a similar thing where you have multiple points of contact with the arms. It stiffens everything up so much. You can push the filter so much further. The prop wash handling is amazing. So with all that said, here is some flight footage. All right, so this is the FPVCycle Sonicare. I've been working on a tuner for this a little bit. I got the build set up, been crashed, flown a little bit. These props aren't perfect, but I've got the tune to a point where I'm pretty happy with it. And I've been super happy with this frame. As I mentioned, the 30x30, or the lack of 30x30 mounting really stinks. So if you're kind of hoping to switch to this frame from an existing build, hopefully you are running a 20x20. Or if you're doing a fresh build, make sure you order a 20x20 or a 25x25 stack. But yeah, overall, this frame's been amazing. It flies extremely well. Very, very minimal low frequency noise. Yeah, Bob did an amazing job with this. Highly recommend it. But now let's get some flight footage for you guys. All right, so got a little bit of a breeze here. My camera's definitely tilted to the left, which is annoying. Let's go. So this quad's really light. It's only like 620 grams. All up. I've also got some pretty light props on here. These are the Gemfan F3S. But it's super, super responsive. A couple of snap rolls here. These aren't mine. There we go. These aren't my, I had my rates off. All right, now a couple snap rolls. Snap pitch moves. Little Rubik's Cube maybe. Oh, hopefully my GoPro's still recording after that. This GoPro likes to turn itself off. But as you can see, there's like no prop wash at all. Even coming out of stuff like that. Let's see if I can just do like a fast turn here. Yeah, this quad's a smooth operator. It flies really great. So like I said, yeah, if you're doing a new fresh build, you know, new flight controller, new everything, would definitely look into this frame. You're just gonna have trouble converting from an existing freestyle build because of the stack situation, which is unfortunate. If this had true 30x30 mounting, I'd probably switch my fleet over to it, to be honest. This tune's excellent. This tune will be available. I'll probably submit it tonight, or maybe tomorrow, to the Betaflight official presets. And usually it takes Ivan about a day to get those approved. Assuming that he doesn't have any issues with the preset itself. So, yeah, in the next couple days, probably by the time this is uploaded, this tune will be available in the Betaflight official presets. So if you have this frame and want it to fly this well, definitely look for that. Ooh, baby. Shouldn't have disarmed, dang it. I'm kind of a wimp whenever it comes to brand new frames. I love this dead grass though, it's super easy to chop through. One thing that's not right is my, do I have a little bit of yaw jump, not too bad. My milliamp readout is definitely off because I have not pulled 1200 milliamps from this battery, that's for sure. But the flight time is great. I don't know where I'm at because I just had to rearm and this is DJI, but battery life's great when your frame is this light. Like I said, I'm about 620 to 630 grams depending on the LiPo. I wanted to go through that. Now I'm at 3.2, so I murdered this battery. 3.1, this is where I fall out of the sky. 2.9, alright, that battery's in trouble. Hopefully that GoPro's still recording. But yeah, this frame's great, guys. GoPro is, in fact, still recording, which is great. Yeah, frame's great. Resonance performance is amazing. Building in it's relatively easy. The carbon fiber is pretty high quality. The edges are sharp, so you'll cut up tape, cut up battery straps. Might need to file those down in certain spots, but overall, very happy with this. It's also super nice because like these arm struts or trusses or whatever you want to call them, these wishbones, are two pieces. So if you break one, maybe you only have to replace one. Maybe the arms go a little further. And it's cheap. It's like, I think it's under 60 bucks. So everything about this frame is great. No 30x30 sucks. Bob's supposed to have a mount, but I don't know how that's going to cut into your build height. So even that might not be good. So yeah, other than the mounting, it's like perfect. This gets a mouse 9 out of 10, which is a buy. All right, see you guys.